So picked up a Bio 600 pump fed system today. A few little issues with it, nothing of any really major, or wasn't any really major issues. Got it out of the car and dropped it. So that's broke off completely. They've snapped off as well, so I've had to de-script them. Or even worse, I've snapped off that, which is the inlet and what's left of it. So, and also I've broken that as well. So, bit of a mess to be fair. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and do a bit of CT1. I'll put a piece of pipe in there for now, and I pushed it all the way in. I've solvent welded it, and I put some CT1 on it, and that CT1's gone off like concrete. What I am going to do is, obviously there, I'm going to put some more CT1 around that area there, and make sure it goes all the way inside and then push it right back. And then what I'm going to do then is I'm going to take a road trip tomorrow to Shirley Aquatics to go and see Big Ron. Hopefully he'll be able to sort me out. But yeah, I'm absolutely gutted. So this system again is from Elite Filtrations, and they retail at about 2,000 quid. I bought it for, I actually bought it off Facebook Marketplace, from a place called Swaddling Coat. They wanted 500 quid for it, and I turned around and said to them, obviously there's a bit of stuff that needed to be doing to it. So I said, I'll give you 400 quid, and they happily accepted that. So obviously when I go back and broke it, now I'm probably going to spend about 150 quid to try and get it back up. So the 100 quid I saved, I've now got to spend from my stupidity from dropping it. But these things are here to test us. I mean, even if I spend 150, 200 quid repairing it, I've still saved a fortune for it. Because what I want it to do is I want it to support the current pond. So what I want to do is I want it to go in that corner over there. So what I'll probably do is I'll make a frame to come across that end, and then run decking boards across the entire length of it, and then have the cube sitting in that corner. So the water then, what I want to try and do then is make a modification so the pipe comes down into a bog filter, comes through so it can furnish all the plants and everything else, and then come back into the pond in a controlled way. Fish are doing really well, as you can see. One of my birthday presents as well that I had from my kids, so fantastic, grateful for that. Like I said, fish are doing really well. So what I'll do is I'll get back to you tomorrow when I do the road trip over to Shirley Aquatics. So catch you later. Right, good morning. I had a bit of a issue yesterday, video you'll see previously, where I've dropped down and smashed off the inlet valve clean off the side of the box. So what I'm going to try and do now is I'm going up to Shirley Aquatics, going to see a gentleman called Ron. Hopefully we're going to be able to, between us, problem solve it, see if we can get it sorted out. The problem we've got is because the inlet valves are fixed unit inside the bio-orb system, and the piece that I need is basically a flanged T-piece, which are quite hard to get. The other way around it might be to get a tank connector and do a modification on the tank connector. But I'll snap back to you after, when we're either at or after I've been to Shirley Aquatics. So catch you later. So we're at Shirley Aquatics. The place is absolute. So obviously this is where we are now. Absolute people in here. So I think we're going to struggle today to get anything sorted. But what I'm going to do is, oh, those are monsters, those are. That's one big fish. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and get in and see Ron. Obviously he's quite busy today, so if I get a chance to do some stuff I will. So I'm here with Ron, so you're going to try and see if he can get me out of trouble with this BioCube. He's come up with a fantastic idea around it. So what we're going to do is we're going to use this bad boy, and then we're going to connect this from the inside. So this will be inside the cube, this then will stick out on the outside, and then we'll have an attachment on the end. I mean, mate, this is how you specialise stuff, and this is how we problem solve. So reckon we've got in with a chance on it?
Got a good chance on that, kid. Yeah.
Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to get some more bits and pieces while we're here, end up spending money as we usually do, and then I'll get back to you in a bit. Thank you. So we've been here about 10 minutes now, and he's actually worked out how we're going to do it.
We're going to put that on the end of there, 90 on there, threaded on the other end of the 90, hose tail on top.
And that will actually get us back to exactly how we were. So if ever you need any voice, Shirley Aquatics, come and see Big Ron. He'll come and sort everything out, mate. This bloke is here to die for. What I'm going to do is come down when it's a bit quieter, and then me and Ron will take you through one of the Bio 800s on cleaning process, which is pretty much the same on all of them. To be fair, the system's fantastic. So what we want to try and do is we want to sort it out. But like I said, we'll do it a bit further down the line when it's less quieter. So yeah, catch you again. Okay, good afternoon. Just give you a quick update. So as you know, I had the BioCube 600. Had a problem with it. Well, filled it up, and basically the thing that it was holding on collapsed. Smashed all the connections on it, the whole lot. It was absolutely totaled. I thought it was game over. Went over to Jack's, gave him a piece of equipment to try and see if we could get round it. Both of us thought it was going to be terminal. As you know, we went over to Shirley Aquatics. I came up with an idea of putting a tank connector on it. And obviously we went down to see Big Ron, and we sorted out all the modifications. I'm pleased to say that it's back together. I haven't water tested it yet, but just very quickly I'll show you roughly what it's going to look like. So that's the position it's going to be in. So obviously you can see it's pretty set up. What will happen there is there's going to be a bog filter. So you'll have plants in and the water will come back in that way from there. So it'll come in through the filter, also coming through the bio chamber, also come through the bog filter. So we'll have some really good filtration. So you can see it looks quite tidy, to be fair. Show you what we've done around the back. The only issue I think that we're going to have is one of the connections, because of where it's snapped, could cause me a few issues, but I won't know that until I actually wet test it. So what I've done, take all the slide valves off because they were all totaled. I've put two valves on, so obviously the two from the front now will be operated from that one, and that one there will be operated from there, so I can control it. That is the piece that I had off Big Ron, so obviously that now will be the in feed. So basically what will happen now, just quickly show you, it's down on the floor. Oh. So basically that will fit on there like that, and then obviously it'll be pointing down or across slightly. So what I'll do is where the pump comes in from there, so it comes down over the top, drops in, and then goes into a pressure filter into there. What I'm going to do is there, I'm going to split it, and I'm going to put a white piece in. So you'll have one piece that'll come straight through and then join into that. Then you'll have another piece that'll come up and come into that, which is, excuse the mess, it'll be that one down there that I'm going to use. So I'm going to use that system to do it. Obviously I've got a bit of messing about to do at the moment before that all works, but then obviously you'll have connections that'll come on there, and as you can see that's the way I'm going to set it up. So the water will come in that way, and it will go that way, and then it will go that way back to the filter as well. Do that. We've done some really tidy work to prepare it as well. So Sam Hirschfield is coming down from the Isle of Arran before he goes over to see Jack. So what we actually did was, because everything was quite broken, and when I say broken I mean really broken, we did some seam welding Show you that. So close up, that's the seam welding that we did. And then on the top itself, what we did there was bumper repair kit screw clips. So obviously what happens is they melt in and they knit in together. So that's got us out of trouble with that one. Obviously what I've done is I've used CT1 on all the joints there, because obviously they were snapped as well. So yeah, so it was quite bad. Managed to take stock of stuff, came up with some problem solving, and then obviously we've managed to get to where we are now. It's not perfect, and I won't know until it's water tested, and when it is water tested I'll be really happy because it's turned out quite well then. But yeah, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to chill out for a little bit, and then yeah, get back to you soon. Thank you. Right, so I'm going to show you a quick tip. Made a mistake as I was kept connecting up the bio chamber, welded a pipe into the wrong position, had to take it off. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to show you this one. So obviously I broke it, so what I've done, I've cut it off flush, and I'm going to show you how we can recycle this. We use 3 tools. So first one is a screwdriver, flathead. Next one, pincer pliers. We need those because when we can actually lift the plastic, we can then put this in, twist it out. The other tool we're going to use is a standard heat gun. Literally, we're going to melt it out. So this is either going to go really well or really wrong. So let me turn it around, get back, set it up, and I'll show you what we're doing. Okay, let's see if we can get this to work then. So So 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to sit that flat on the floor so I don't burn the wire. I'm just going to try and see if I can just lift it out, which as you can see that's just starting to go now. So it just needs a little bit more. So bearing in mind I've rotated it 20 times. So I'm going to do another 6. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Switch it off, stick it on the floor, just have another quick check just to see if I can get it to lift out, which it can quite slowly. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to insert my pliers. I'm going to make sure I've got that tight. And then literally what I'm going to do, I'm going to twist it out of the box. I've never done that. That's the first time that's done it, first time. I'm actually really impressed with that. So just check that, make sure that's that. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go in. I'm just going to try and tidy it up while it's still warm. I'm just going to try and tidy it up. I'm actually impressed I've got that out first time, which makes a change because the last time I did it, it was about 7 attempts to do it. So just tidying that. The reason why I'm tidying it up is because obviously with the solvent weld that's in there, because it's been melted off, you will get a degree of weld left in there. So just have a quick look inside there, you can see what I've done. So you can see, same on that one as well. So tidy that up a little bit. So what I need now is a piece of hose just to test it. So what I'll do, put that in there, make sure it works. Then I need to make sure that fits back in there. It's a bit tight, so I'll just hold on 2 seconds. Just do it more. Because obviously you want this to slide in nice and easy, so when you put the next side of solvent weld on, it'll actually grip it really well. So I'll just see what that does now, see what that's like. That's still quite a little bit tight, but it goes in. Just want it a little bit more, because sod's law, you'll put the solvent weld on there, it'll be too tight, and then end up having to cut it and do it all over again. So let me just make sure that's nice and, so do that once more. There you go. So that's a decent fit now. So that's pretty good, that is. So there you go. So that's another little that I've showed you how to do, so we can now recycle the pipes. If you like this kind of content and you want me to show you how to do all the bits and pieces, I can. Just leave a comment below, and then we can do other bits and pieces. What I'm going to do probably over the next couple of weeks is I'll show you how to nuts and bolts, so how to trick, so when you put the sleepers together, how you can cut and flush, a nice easy way of doing it. If you haven't already seen the video previously about making sleepers, putting sleepers together, that's a really good thing. So, and it shows you about drilling them out anyway. So, hope you've enjoyed this. Catch you again. So I'm doing a pressure test now of the system. Obviously, in light of the repairs that I've done, looking at that, you can see there is no leaks there at all on that side. That's looking pretty good. Obviously there is a leak here, but the reason why that's a leak is because I haven't sealed it. Because that's the in feed, which I need to set up yet. So that was the one that was critically damaged yesterday, and you can see that one looks quite good. Can't see any damage to it at all. So what I've actually done is I've drilled the hole out, and what I've done is I've gone straight in and I've put a completely new pipe in. I've sealed it, but the outside where it had snapped off, what I've done is I've put CT1 on that as well to keep that stable, and then I've also CT'd it into the join as well. So not only that, but obviously solvent welded it as well. The other ones, which are located around the front, excuse this, it's still a bit of a mess over here at the moment. These also I had to do a repair on as well, and as you can see, those are looking pretty good as well at the moment. So at the moment it's turned out to be quite successful at the moment, so at least something's going right for a change. But hey, these things are here to test us, so catch you in a bit. So beginning the air test on it now as well. So just see there, you can see that the air's bubbling up there nicely. Sorting all the balls out, look. So, and what that's doing, that's bubbling up, and the idea of it is to clean the media. So obviously you can see the water's filling up there as we speak. So I'll get back to you in a second. So hopefully you can see that now a little bit better. So what that's actually doing at the moment is that's bubbling up. So that's bubbling the media to get it clean. So if there's any compounds in there before I start using it, they'll hopefully be cleaned up. So we'll take you through a cleaning cycle, and then we'll do it again. So that's just clearing all the junk out now, out of there. We're just doing it now, just emptying it back off. I'll just keep it good cycling through. I'll just turn it off now and we'll test it again. So that's the second test completed. So looking good, looking good. What I'll do tomorrow is I'll do some other bits and pieces, but I'm going to leave it as it is at the moment. So I'll get back to you. So what we've done now is we've put the case back on the top, as you can see. Obviously that's quite busy. Every single one has got like a sealer bolter, and there are at least 30 of them all the way around. So put all that in. Obviously I've got one there I need to tighten up there. Of all of them, that's the only one I missed. And then what we've done is we've rerouted that pipe so that comes out through there. What we're going to do is we're going to test it, and what we're going to do is we're going to disconnect the waterfall from over there. So we're going to disconnect it completely from there for now, and then we're going to test it by sticking it on that pipe. All of this has been sealed now, so get back to you in a sec. Okay, so we've done a test. We've got a bit of a leak there which I need to look at. It looks like we've got a leak over there as well. So at least we've tried it anyway. So back to the drawing board for a little while, because obviously it's leaking there. But once you've got it up and running, that's going to be really good. That's going to give us some really good flow. But okay, so we'll get back in once we've had another go. Oh, good afternoon. I hope everybody's alright. Give you a bit of an update. So obviously with the bio chamber that I showed you yesterday, what I decided to do in my very silly way was I thought I'd mix some K1 media with the bio balls. What I didn't account for was a minor little problem that I had, and that was the slats in the bio. So just to give you an example, that's what a bio ball looks like. Okay, it looks nice and round and it's got edges on it, and that's K1 media, which, to be honest with you, the two together that way ain't too bad. That way was the issue. So basically what happened was all the media floated to the top of the bio box, all the K1 media. So it come outside the vents, which was a bit of a problem. So I thought, okay, no problem, I'll drain it down, have a quick look, see what happens. And then all of it disappeared down the bottom, and then out through the back, made a right mess. So basically what I've had to do a strip down, and I've now spent the last couple of hours so far doing this. So putting them in there, and having to do all this by hand. So the moral of this story is, don't mix green balls with small K1 media. Catch you on the next one. Right. Okay, so we're back with Ron. Reference the bio cubes. So Ron, do you want to just take me through now how we do the cleaning on the bio cube and show how easy it is?
We'll switch the pumps off.
Yeah.
Shut the valves down.
Yeah.
And shut the valves down at the back to let the water in.
The back itself, yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Gate valves.
Yep.
And that's all shut off now.
Right.
What we do then is open the air valves.
Yep.
Pull the plunges up.
So that lifts the gate boxes up, doesn't it, to free the
gate
boxes?
up
Yep.
and release some water out.
So what we're doing at the moment is draining down some of the water, and bearing in mind
When
this
we
is
get
the
to
two
about there,
Yep.
I shall stop it.
Okay.
Okay, and that is ready now. Just put the air pump on.
So that's now circulating it now and agitating it, isn't it?
It is. Always make sure that this valve's open. Okay. If you leave it shut,
That's where we had a problem, wasn't it, previously?
that's what will happen. It fill full of air
Yeah.
and it will explode.
Yes.
Okay.
That was
Always
what
make
scared
sure
a lot of people off previously, weren't it?
It was. Yes.
So it's all about education on these. I mean, these systems are quite expensive anyway. And taking into account that Shirley do use these all the time, but I'll just pass you back to Ron. Okay, Ron?
I'm just draining the other side down, ready.
Okay.
So I can, when I finished aerating that, I can move over to that side.
Is there a rough time for aerating them, Ron?
Around about 10 minutes.
About 10 minutes, okay.
Yeah. And that's ready for me to change over. So we'll just let that aerate for about 10 minutes and then we'll come back to it.
So what that's doing now, it's agitating all the balls, so if there's any debris in the balls at all, it's literally letting it drop to the bottom before it gets passing out. So this is the second generation Bio 600.
It is, yes, yeah, it is a 600.
So I have got the first generation one, which is the one I've got at home. So bearing in mind that this one that's on here is the one that's the it's bottom drain,
well,
which is the spec cube. So the one that I'm currently using at home is obviously the pump fed one. So obviously, as you know, there's a few modifications that's got to be done to that. So as you can see, it's been cleaned out. So if you think the average cleaning time on your Nexuses and everything, it's about the same. It can be quite messy. So obviously all this is about now is just filling up and emptying, quite plain and simple, and just cleaning it. But just quickly while that one's going, if you look, the whole of the system everywhere, even down there, every single one's a BioCube. The exception to the rule is right at the far side, which is Nexus 220. And if Shirley Aquatics are using it, that obviously tells you a lot about it as well. So, but again, like I said, there was a lot of scares about them in the days gone by about incorrect use of the air valves, which Ron's just explained causes the explosions. I believe there was a case in America, wasn't there, which caused some issues. It's because it weren't in the small print, wasn't it? So that caused a few issues down. So a lot of it's just education, to be fair. But they are fantastic systems for the simple reason is they have such a small footprint. So as you can see, it's still agitating. Just watch that for a couple of seconds now. And then when he's got this side done, he'll empty it out and then he'll do the same on the opposite side.
So we've done that now.
Yep.
And we're draining the water out.
So the water's being drained out from the other side, from the outlets. So obviously that water now is going to waste. That makes sure that all the bits and pieces that's in there now is just going to be cleaned away, like you would do with a normal filter. And you see how slowly as that water's going down. Like I said, Ron's a professional when it comes to stuff like this, and every time I want some questions doing around this, I always come straight to Ron. It's easy. I mean, I've come today as well because I need a return valve to go on the end of mine. So you can see it's been drained down as we speak. So that's now nearly finished.
And then we move on to the other side. While that's agitating then, shut the valves down to go to waste. Pull your gate valve off.
You can hear that air now. That's why them valves are open. So as that water starts to fill up, the air will escape via those valves. You'll start to see some water coming out of it. When that's done, we'll just close the valves off, and that's it, it's good to go. As you can see, that one's still agitating there. Don't forget there's two systems here, so think of it as a Nexus and think of it as a Tempest. So one side of it will be the equivalent to a Nexus, and the other one will be the equivalent to a Tempest, so your polishing side of it. So as you can see, that's being agitated as well. Got some bits and pieces going on here today, ain't you, mate? You're always busy, ain't you? Don't think you ever stopped here, bro.
I don't stop. No.
So you can see all that's coming back in there. Right, on this system, can the two sides be worked independent of each other? So on mine it can't. No, so it's exactly the same then, isn't it? But I've noticed that yours is more simplified on the top compared to mine.
So if you leave one empty and one full, the other one will drain off into the other one as well.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So both got to be working.
So you can see that's filling up now nicely. You'll start to see water that'll start to come out through the valve in a minute. There's always a bit of water on the top, it's inevitable. You'll see it starts to come up in a second.
I'll shut that off, that's ready.
Yeah.
That side. We'll drain this side over there.
Okay.
One of them, the bottom one, just the back part of the cube,
Yes.
and the top one, just the front part.
Was the front
cube.
part. I think the difference between the one I've got, Ron, and this generation is the centre's physically turned round. So from the front of mine, you'll see the Tempest side of it.
Right.
And the back end side, you'll see the Nexus side of it, where yours is split the opposite way round. So, and I think that's just the generations. But like I say, if you look at the front on this one, you can see there's virtually nothing on. Where the one that I've got's got the two UVs on the top of it, and it's quite busy. So you're just getting ready to do this now. So now what he's doing now is agitating the back part of it. Because don't forget, this is done in 4 stages. How many cycles do you put it through, Ron?
About 4.
About 4 cycles.
Yeah.
So if you put down realistically, so if you was cleaning a Nexus, which is probably about an hour and a half,
Yeah.
and then you look at cleaning one of these, which is about what, 40 minutes?
About 40 minutes.
Which would you say, put the time to one side, which would be the easiest to clean?
Easiest to clean the cube.
So it's definitely the cube there. So okay. So obviously we're not going to stop here for the 40 minutes. Obviously for the cleaning thread. This one's just a cycle, just to show you just how easy it actually is. It is a really good system. It's just getting it to work after we've done the getting all the seals on, all my seals to work properly. But we'll get there. So it's closed. He's about to close the gate. Just waiting for that to fill up now, as you can see. As soon as that's done, he'll close the gate. Just turn the water off. So we're setting up the gates now, so that's been done. You can see now that's draining back down. And to be fair, they're relatively clean anyway. So Ron, if you don't mind me asking, how long have you actually worked for Shirley Aquatics?
4.5 years.
Okay, and how did you find the company?
Very good.
Very good. I mean, to be fair, looking at the quality of the stuff around as well, it is second to none, to be fair. And like I said, I do like coming down, because every time I have a problem, you turn around and say, let's see how we can sort it out, Cliff. And there's never an issue, it's always about you sorting it out, and I really do appreciate that.
Okay.
But what I want to do is highlight the fact that you're always willing to help. So when the guys are stuck, if they want to come down and see yourself, you come down and see Big Ron. Obviously turn around and tell him Mad Dog sent you down. He'll try and help you out as best as he can. If he can't, there'll be somebody else in here.
Find somebody else for you.
Yeah, find somebody else for you as well. So, right, so obviously as you can see now we're getting this back down here. So we're coming up to the second stage now, he's taking the air off. So even though the air is showing at the front, it's actually being done in the 2 sides of the chamber. So it cleans both of them. Now the difference between the one that I've got and the one that's here is this has got 4 individual chambers, mine's got 3. So obviously I've got 3 lots of valves on mine. And again, like I said, the one I've got now is it's a first generation. So first generation I've got, it's about 10 years old, isn't it, Rob? Yeah, it's about 10 years old, the one I've got. And I think the one that you've got here is about 4. So it's about 4 years on this one. So you can see there is quite and it's like anything, it's always about improvement and how they can get round things. So this pretty much shows just how they do it. So as you can see now, that's starting to fill back up. Is this the last cycle on this one, right? Is this the last cycle on this one?
That's the last cycle, yeah.
So this is the last cycle now.
That's it, that's just filling up now.
So that gate valve that is, that pipe that's shifted up now, what it does is actually shifts the gate which then lifts all the balls up, which is why the balls are floating. What that one does then is it secures it down and holds them in place, so in effect it creates the tempest form. So imagine that as the Nexus way, so it's all bubbling and aerating, and then that's how it's fixed. So it brings you clean, or in theory clean crystal water. So you'll see as you start to fill that up now.
To the top, shut your valve then. That's ready.
So you can see that now where all the water's on the top. Now there's two ways to do it. One is to leave it until you've got the bubbles at the top. The other one is to allow water to escape through it and then tighten it down as well. But all it is making sure that you've evacuated all of the air that's in the cube. So I've just got back from Shirley Aquatics with all the bits and pieces that I need. Again, massive shout out to Big Ron for helping me out with for the show on how we were going to do the cleaning of the bio chamber itself, which I thought was really good. To be fair, I thought it was really good of him. So yeah, it was great. So to just show you what I've been and collected. Get a one-way valve, which is there. These are specifically used for swimming pools and stuff like that. And basically inside, it's got a little, basically a spring load. It's relative for chemicals and stuff like that. You can use the standard ones, standard return valves. They retail around the £69 mark. These retail around the £49 mark. And then you've got these, which are basically the pipes that we're going to be sticking inside there on both sides. So that's how we're going to set it up. So basically the water will be coming in the direction of the flow, so you can see that the flow is located there. So the water will come in this way, it will go in and then go up in through the bio chamber. As I've said to you previously, what I'm probably going to do, it's a bit of a mess around here at the moment, is that pipe that is coming down there at the moment, that's the pipe that comes in from the main feed from the pump. So one will go to pressure filter and the other one then will go direct into the bio chamber. So what I'll do then is I will use a wide pipe, so the water direction will come in this way. So a wide pipe will send up straight to the bio chamber with a tap on, and the same will go back to the pressure filter. And that's the way that we're going to looking at doing it that way. So catch back to you in a minute. So we're also re-looking at the top of this. If you remember, we identified that we had a bit of a leak. We've identified that that's where the leak was coming from. And as you can see, there's a split in there. But what's happening is the water was escaping through there and it was escaping over the top and escaping out. So what I'm going to do with this, I'm going to clean all the top of it off, the whole thing with a brush. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to run a bead of silicone sealant all the way around all the screws, all the way around, all the way through, and all the way down this side as well. It's a bit messy in it at the moment, but I'll soon get it tidied up. Once I've run that bead of sealer down there, I'm also going to run a little bit of sealer around here and across this side as well. Because if you remember, there was a water leak that was coming through the top of here. So, and I'm not sure whether it was coming through one of those boxes and then going into the UV and then leaking through the UV. So to ensure that happens is when I put the rubber back in place on here, I'll make sure it's sealed down. So that's another bit that I'm going to get done as well. So all that's going to be cleaned off. That gap there, because of that split, is what we're going to try and get done with that, with the silicone sealant. We're going to use for this, I'm not going to use CT1 because there's two reasons I'm not going to use CT1. One is I may need to take it back off again at some stage, and CT1, it's a nightmare to break the seal after. It's really good stuff for a permanent fixture, but if you want to get it back off, there'll be more chance of you damaging other bits and pieces than there will be for. So I'm going to use a standard aquarium sealer. So that's how I'm going to do that. So I'm going to do a bit more tidying up. I'm going to clean all the edges up on this. Then I'm going to bring a bead of silicone sealant all the way around. I'm going to fit the lid back on, and then I'm going to squeeze it in. So we'll get what they call squeeze out. So the more that you push the more you push the plastic down, the more the silicone sealant will then push out from either side and push out. And what we'll do then is just run my finger around the edge just to tidy it back up. Because it's aquarium sealer that I'm going to be using, I should be able to then, if I need to take the lid back off, be able to use a standing knife all the way around it and break the seal. Because obviously this is sealed with silicone sealant, but not only that, it's also bolted down as well. There's in excess of 30 bolts on there. So using TT1 probably a waste anyway, based on the expense of it as well, and I want to be able to set the top back off. So I'll set that up and get back and use it. So this is the underside of the plastic top cover that sits on top of the bio chamber. There's a rubber seal that sits on there, and as you can see, it's not the world's best condition, so I need to manipulate this. So what I've done is, this is double-sided tape. You can get it from most good hardware stores, but what I want is, I want something secure that's going to hold the rubber in place. So I'm going to put another piece of double-sided tape that side, and I'm going to do the same this side, and then I'm going to run a piece in here all the way down. The idea for that then is, obviously when that rubber sits in place, hopefully that will sit and secure. Bear in mind, this is the underneath. We're going to run beads of sealer down here on the actual cage itself. You can see that there's quite a few cracks around the on the plastic itself, and obviously it's where that's over time. So you can see there's some quite bad ones as well. So there's one there, there's that one there, which is quite bad as well. So you can see that over time, obviously it's had a lot of wear. Bearing in mind, this is over 10 years old. So, you know, it's done its job, it's done what it's needed to do. So what I'm going to do is, obviously I've got to be careful as well, that when I silicone seal this, when I want to break, if I want to break the seal off again, I need to make sure that I know where these issues are. It hasn't gone all the way through, it's only superficial, but I want to make sure that I don't crack it all. So what I'll do is, I'll get the rest of the tape on here, and I'll show you what it looks like then, and then I'll show you once I fix the seal. So I'll get back to you in a second. So as you can see now, what I've done is I've stuck the double-sided tape on both sides. I've lifted these two edges up so I can stick a piece that goes across there, and I've done the same this side. That stops any air pockets, so because obviously you've had that overlapped over the top. This just basically peels off, and it shows you off the double-sided tape on the other side. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to strip all the tape off now, and then what I'm going to do is, I'm going to line up this onto it. And then hopefully when I show you when it's finished, you should see hopefully it won't be as bad as what it is now. But yeah, I'll get back and show you in a sec. So I've applied the rubber, and all I'm going to do now is I'm just going to go around and just basically push it all in, so it all pushes in place, so it's all a nice hard fit. Now obviously this is just, the only reason why I'm doing this is so when it sits on the case after, it sits flat, because obviously I don't know what was causing the leaks previously. So you can see there's a little bit of pull there where it's obviously pushed over at some stage, but that should be fine there. As you can see, I'm just trying to rub that out now. And these rollers they're about £2 from B&Q, so, and they're ideal. I use them all the time. So just to make sure, all I'm trying to do is I'm just making sure. So yeah, so what I'm going to do now is, obviously I'm just swapping my hands because my right hand's better than my left. So I'm just making sure that it's all pushed in, it's all set up at the top, and it's all done. You can see that that's sitting quite good, that is, to be fair. So what we're going to do with this now is, I'm going to set up a few bits and pieces. I'm going to set up a few bits and pieces now while I've got a chance. I'm going to brush off the top of the insert on the bio chamber, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to run a bead of seal around it, and then we'll fit this box on the top of it and see if it goes in. After that then what we'll do is we'll set up the one-way valve. Again, I'll show you how to do that in a couple of minutes. We'll just do it by stage. Now I know that obviously I'm doing this on a bio chamber. The same piping and the same return valves are used on pretty much everything anyway. The whole point of a return valve is, especially on the pressurised systems, sometimes they can dump out water. By having a one-way return valve, it prevents that water from coming back out. I did experience this. It was quite interesting actually, because these have to be pressurised. So as the water comes in, then obviously the air escapes out through the top. If you have water going back in, then obviously what that does, then it creates air again. So when you try to fill it back up, that air is going to be trapped. So then it will cause a problem. Hence why you have a one-way valve. Yeah, we'll show you that back in a bit, so I'll come back to you in a bit. So a little tip for you. I mean, obviously we've got a bit of a leak here, and obviously if you haven't got a spanner big enough, you normally get these from places like Lidl, Aldi, and basically the G-clamps. And all you do is literally tighten it up like that. So if you look, that's actually tighten that up. So another little tip for you there. So obviously if you ain't got a spanner big enough, these are about £2 each. So it ain't bad when you think about it. So yeah, there's another tip for you. So what we've done now is we've stuck the sealer in, we've screwed it down, and as you can see there, you've got some bleed out all the way down across the inside of that. You've also got it across that side as well. And if you look down there, you can see you've also got bleed out on that side as well. If you look down there, you can actually see that the sealer, so the sealer was put in here, as it's been screwed down, it's actually bled out on the inside as well, which means I've got a good seal on it. So if you remember, the only main issue was at the leak around there. I've checked this just to see if it was this. It was just a case of tightening it up and see what happens. And if you remember over that side, that was the side where the leak is. So I'm going to leave this now for about 24 hours. And then once I've done that, I'm going to test it again. If it leaks, it leaks. If you don't, then obviously that's a success. But obviously, you know, we'll get back to you in about 48 hours, 24, 48 hours. Okay, as I previously showed you before on the bio chamber, I needed to make some modifications to the feed out, or where I want to purge purge it all completely. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to set up a slide valve. As you can see, I've put on a hose tail already on this side. Because of the diameter of that, and as you can see, I've melted out the original pipe that was in there. And in another video I'm going to show you how to do that. And then what I've done then, I've used my emery, doing it like this. So basically all I've done is gone inside the hole, I've cleaned it out like this to make sure it's all nice and clean. And then what I'm going to do then is I'm going to then fit this inside a pressure pipe. So a pressure pipe now will fit inside there like that. The trouble is now, obviously I'm going to cut that off. I want to be able to put a hose on. So to do that, I need to put a hose tail on. So for those that don't know what a hose tail looks like, this is a hose tail. So it's designed in such a way that it's stepped to give you the sizes for a flexi hose. The problem is a standard pressure pipe like this. I'll just quickly show you that. I've got that on the floor now. Standard pressure pipe like this and a flexi hose like this do not fit. It's impossible for them to fit, and I need that to modify, so I get that to fit inside there. So once that pipe then is fitted inside there like that, with the hose pipe on the end of it, I can then put a flexi hose on the end of it, and then I can send water to waste by doing it simply by just connecting up a hose to it, and then using the flexi hose, just send it out to waste. Quite plain and simple. So what I'm going to do is the same thing as what I've previously done and showed other people on previous videos. If I haven't showed you before, or you haven't seen the video, what I'm going to do now is I'll actually show you how I do it. So I use trusty Parkside, and I use what they call an emery board. And what I'm going to do, very simply, so just let me show you, let me set this video up, give me 2 seconds. Again, as everybody knows, I'm quite new to doing this editing and stuff, so I'm just going to flip it over a little bit. So we've got it now set up, and what I want to do now, quite literally, is I want to put this into here to open this hole up. So all I want to do is make sure that's nice and tight. I'm going to put it on thread, so it'll be set as thread, and that will be, so it's nice and slow. What I'm going to do is I'm literally going to push it in and at the same time I'm going to twist. So see, it goes in, and then all I want to do is I just want to keep going in. You can see that there is plastic that is coming off. I just want to be able to get it big enough so I can fit the hose tail inside. So just give it another couple more in and out. So let's give that a quick try, see if that works. It's close, so it just needs a bit more. So let's go back in there. So again, all I'm just doing, nice and slow, just taking out probably about, I don't know, 20-30 microns. So, or in old money, I'm taking out about 0.02 of an inch. And I'm just taking it out so you can see that the debris is on the top of there. So I'm just taking out enough to make sure that the internal diameter on there matches the external diameter on that one. So when the two fit in, I'll get a nice tight fit. So let me see if I can get that to fit now. And as you can see, that's a nice tight fit in there. So what I'll do now is I'll cut that off about there, and then what I'll do then is I'll solvent weld that obviously into there, then I'll cut it off about there, and then I'll fit it onto the back of the, that, and I'll show you what it looks like in a couple of seconds. So just bear with me a minute. Right, so just cut it down a little bit, tidy the end up so it's nice and tidy. Do the same with that. So in theory, that should fit straight in there like that. And then that way, we've now created a hose tail on that for the hosing. So that's another job done. So now that I've got it cut down and I've got it all nice and tidy, I'm going to now put in some solvent weld and put that on the inside. I'm just going to put some on the outside of this to do exactly the same, and then all I'm literally going to do is put it in, and then as you put it in, put it in, and as you put it in, just give it a bit of a twist. That way it will make sure that it's sealed on the outside. So what we'll do is we'll leave that for a couple of seconds to dry, and then what I want to do then is I want to cut the hose tail off. So I've got the diameter, so I'm going to be using this stuff. So really good and really cheap. So get it off eBay, or you can go to your local fish store. You can buy some of the housing from there. So what I've done is I've cut a piece off just so I can simulate it. So this is a 38mm flexi hose, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to be using some clips. Now, you can go to places like Cotton Koi and you can buy those. They probably retail at about, I don't know, £1.20, £1.30 each, depending on which way you look at it. Okay, so what you can do is go to one of your local car places or your car spare places. So there's a number of them around, Motorsport, Motor World, Halfords, all the different places, and you can buy a box. Box comes with 10, and they cost, believe it or not, £4.50 for 10. So that works out at 45p each. So all you do then is a little bit bigger. So these are 32 to 50. So yes, they're going to go down. Yes, there's going to be quite a bit of diameter on it. So you can see there's quite a bit on there. But that will come down. That will come down to the 38 and will give you a really nice tight fit. What you can do then is literally put a 7mm spanner on there, tighten that up. So what my intention is going to be then is I'll put that on both ends of the hose tail, connect that up, and then we'll have a look at it. But first of all, what I'm going to do now is, now this is dry, I'm going to cut this off at 38. So 38, and this is the reason why I've cut a small piece off. 38 is that one there. So all I'll do is I'll cut it off, cut that off at that end there, cut it straight down flush using a standard saw, and then I can hose tail it straight on and do that, and then I've actually got a working slide valve that's been recycled. So get back to you in a minute. So what I've done now is I've cut it off now on both sides. I've hit hose tail that side, hose on that side, and then that will be my new slide valve. Now bearing in mind, these slide valves are probably, I don't know, 30 odd quid. So using a heat gun, which is probably about £12, and you can use it and use it again. I've actually recycled that, and now we're going to use it all over again. So that's another little tiny trip, a nice little tiny trick for you. So hope you've enjoyed doing that. I'm going to get this set up. I'm going to set it up on the bio chamber, and you'll be able to see what it looks like. So there you go, that's the slide valve that's been installed. As you can see, we've got the Jubilee clips that are on there now with the 38mm hose. Obviously this hose is quite long at the moment. The reason why I've got that at the moment is because I need to know exactly where I'm going to be setting everything up. But quite simply now, if I want to be able to isolate it, I can just switch it down and lock it straight out, or I can leave it straight up. That is a one-way valve that's on there. So the next job that I've got to do now is I've got to do a repair on this, because I've got a bit of a weep down there, look. So at some stage now I can isolate it, I can now take that off and do a change on it. So, and that's how you recycle a pipe, and that's how you fit a slide valve the second time round. So I hope you've enjoyed this. Right, after a load of messing about, sealing and resealing of the BioCube, testing it and retesting it, I'm pleased to say now she works. So obviously now all the systems up and running. There is a slight weep, so the slight weep is there, but as you can see I've done it in such a way that it drops straight in. And what that is the air valves themselves, because they've got like a rubber seal on them, sometimes them seals perish. So what I've done is I've done a manual fix on it temporarily, just to see how it goes, because I just want to test it out now to make sure it all works. So I'm going to leave it running for a few days now just to see what it does. But yeah, to be honest with you, I'm really happy with that, to be fair. So don't forget, this is the one I filled up, dropped and damaged. Ended up having to go to Shirley Aquatics to get brand new seals, brand new covers. Again, big shout out to Ron for helping me out with that. But yeah, so that concludes the BioChamber Cube 600. So that's obviously been a really good success. The next project that I'll be doing with regards to this is I'll be putting in a bog filter. So what'll happen then, I'll just flip it back around again. So what I'll do is I'm going to reroute that pipe once everything's all stable, and I'm going to run a bog filter along here and then run straight back into the water. So I'm going to put some plants and stuff in here. So this will just be a matter of reshaping this, bringing that in, and then sticking a bog filter on there. What I want to do then is route that straight into the bog filter, which is just a matter of just literally twisting that round. So yeah, so I am really happy with that. So that at the moment is fantastic. Fiberglassing's looking really good. But yeah, so anytime you want to do anything with filters and stuff, please get yourself down to Shirley Aquatics. Go down and see Big Ron. The bloke is brilliant. So until the next one, catch you later. Okay, so the Bio 600 system now has been running probably about 4 weeks. So obviously I'm still using the vacuum shower. I'm using that in support. So as previously showed, that has been split into two. So one goes into the bio chamber, the other goes into the vacuum shower. But show the water. I think that speaks for itself. So that's the system itself. I've showed you a few times. Obviously I've taken the lid off it at the moment. Mainly because I'm just clearing it. But I think that speaks for itself. So yeah, so Bio 600, Bio 800 coming. So catch you soon.